The observation chamber aboard the Vaxian intelligence vessel was silent, save for the soft hum of life support systems. Crix 9, senior intelligence analyst for the Vaxian Confederacy, adjusted his sensory appendages as he prepared the report for the Galactic Council. His metallic exoskeleton clicked softly against the recording terminal. What he had witnessed today would forever change how the galaxy perceived humans. "Begin recording," Crix 9 announced, his voice translator modulating to the formal tones required for official documentation. Subject: Revised Threat Assessment, Humans of Earth. A holographic display flickered to life, showing footage from Nexus Station's Central Plaza. The recording had been captured merely hours ago, and already it was being analyzed in intelligence chambers across 17 star systems. "I submit this report with considerable revision to our previous assessments." Crix 9 continued. "The incident I personally witnessed today suggests that our understanding of human capabilities has been catastrophically underestimated." The feed zoomed in on a slim human female standing beside an older male of the same species. Around them, the bustling activity of Nexus Station continued unabated, a swirling kaleidoscope of 1,000 different species from across the galaxy. "The sequence of events I'm about to describe will require immediate reevaluation of humanity's classification within our defensive protocols." Crix 9 paused, his compound eyes dimming momentarily as he recalled the blood. So much blood. And the horrifying crack that had echoed across the plaza. Computer-enhanced subject focus on the human female and the approaching Gordon military officer. The image shifted, focusing on what would soon become the most analyzed 3 seconds in recent galactic history. Maya Lee had never seen so many different species in one place. Nexus Station's Central Plaza was a riot of color, sound, and bewildering biological diversity that made Earth's most exotic locales seem homogeneous by comparison. Floating orbs of light that contained sentient gas beings drifted past crystalline entities that communicated through precisely modulated light patterns. Massive insectoid traders haggled with diminutive reptilian merchants over rare minerals and exotic foodstuffs. "Stay close, Maya," her grandfather cautioned, his weathered hand resting lightly on her shoulder. "It's easy to get separated in the crowd." Dr. Rajian Lee looked nothing like the fearsome warrior he had once been. At 72, his once jet-black hair had faded to silver, and gentle smile lines framed his dark eyes. To casual observers, he appeared to be exactly what his credentials claimed: a respected xenobiologist from Earth, traveling with his granddaughter on a research expedition, his hands, now holding a datapad displaying Nexus Station's map, showed no signs of having once broken bones and ended lives with terrifying efficiency. Maya nodded, taking in the sights with the wide-eyed wonder expected of a human experiencing interstellar civilization for the first time. Her delicate features and petite frame made her appear younger than her 20 Earth years. The flowing blue tunic she wore, standard Earth diplomatic attire, emphasized her slight build. To the numerous species watching her with curiosity or dismissal, she appeared fragile, even vulnerable. It was exactly the impression humanity had carefully cultivated since their relatively recent emergence onto the galactic stage. "The xenobotany exhibit should be just ahead," Dr. Lee said, gesturing toward a towering biodome visible at the far end of the plaza. "Professor Xanthra's collection of adaptive flora is supposed to be quite remarkable." Maya was about to respond when a ripple of movement caught her attention. The crowd ahead was parting, conversations hushing as a patrol of Gordon Royal Guards strode through the plaza. Even among the diverse denizens of Nexus Station, the Gordons were impossible to miss. Standing over 8 feet tall, their broad-shouldered frames were encased in gleaming black exo-armor that amplified their already formidable physical presence. Force pikes hummed with barely contained energy in their 4-fingered hands, and ceremonial plasma blades hung at their waists. The Gordon Empire had been one of the dominant forces in this sector for millennia, their military prowess legendary even among warlike species. They were not known for their diplomatic touch. "Grandfather," Maya murmured, a note of warning in her voice. Dr. Lee nodded almost imperceptibly. "I see them. Keep calm and remember your training. The lead Gordon officer halted suddenly, his helmet's sensory array swiveling toward the small group of humans gathered near one of the plaza's ornamental fountains. Even with his features hidden behind the helmet's opaque visor, his posture radiated contempt. Captain Vorth, one of the junior officers said, his voice carrying in the suddenly quiet plaza. We should continue our patrol. Admiral Krex expects... Silence, Lieutenant. The captain's voice was a bass rumble, amplified by his armor's external speakers. I see our newest Galactic citizens are enjoying the hospitality of Nexus Station. With deliberate slowness, Captain Vorth changed direction, his massive form bearing down on the human delegation. The crowd withdrew further, creating an impromptu arena with the humans and Gordons at its center. Maya felt her grandfather's hand tighten briefly on her shoulder before he stepped slightly away, giving himself room to maneuver if necessary. She realized the other humans in their group, a trade negotiator, 2 xenobiological researchers, and their Earth Alliance security liaison, maintained neutral expressions while subtly adjusting their positions. Humans, Vorth announced, coming to a halt, barely 3 feet from Maya. His helmet retracted, revealing gray-green skin stretched over a prominent brow ridge and a mouth filled with yellowed, pointed teeth. So fragile-looking. It's remarkable you managed to achieve spaceflight without shattering your delicate bones. Dr. Lee stepped forward, his expression placid. Captain, we are peaceful visitors to Nexus Station. If there is some protocol we have violated, we would be happy to... Protocol? Vorth laughed, the sound like rocks grinding together. The only protocol you need to understand is that some species command respect, while others... His gaze swept dismissively over the humans. Must earn it. Maya remained perfectly still, her dark eyes meeting Vorth's yellow ones without flinching. It was a calculated risk. Most species would interpret the direct gaze as either aggression or stupidity when faced with a clearly superior opponent. But humans had found that showing neither fear nor hostility often confused potential aggressors just long enough to diffuse situations. Not this time. You, Vorth said, focusing on Maya. Female, do you think your species belongs among the stars? Do you believe humans have earned their place at the Galactic Council's table? Before she could respond, Dr. Lee intervened. My granddaughter is not a diplomatic representative, Captain. If you have official concerns about Earth's status, they should be addressed through proper channels. Vorth's expression darkened. I wasn't speaking to you, old man. What happened next occurred so quickly that many witnesses would later disagree about the precise sequence of events. Vorth's massive hand swept out in a backhanded slap aimed at Maya's face, a blow that, coming from a Gordon, could easily shatter a human's skull. But the blow never landed as intended. Instead, Maya shifted almost imperceptibly, causing Vorth's hand to strike her with only a fraction of its intended force. Still, the impact was enough to snap her head to the side, leaving an angry red mark blooming across her cheek. A collective gasp rippled through the watching crowd. Violence against diplomatic visitors was expressly forbidden on Nexus Station, regardless of species hierarchy. Even the Gordons were bound by this rule, at least nominally. Maya slowly turned her face back toward Vorth, a thin trickle of blood running from the corner of her mouth. Her expression remained unchanged, neither angry nor afraid. But something in her eyes had shifted, something cold and calculating that made several nearby empathic species take involuntary steps backward. That, Vorth announced to the crowd, is how you teach respect to lesser species. They must learn their place in the galactic order. Dr. Lee moved with a speed that belied his age. In one fluid motion, he stepped between Maya and Vorth, his right hand shooting up to grasp the force pike Vorth had begun to raise. I believe, Dr. Lee said, his voice dangerously soft, that you have made a serious error in judgment, Captain. Vorth's yellow eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed in rage. Remove your hand from my weapon, human, or I will remove it from your arm. Instead of complying, Dr. Lee's grip tightened, with a twist that appeared almost casual. He redirected the force pike, using Vorth's own strength against him. The Gordon captain found himself suddenly off balance, the weapon no longer under his control. What you fail to understand about humans, Dr. Lee continued, as though they were having a pleasant academic discussion rather than a potentially lethal confrontation, is that we evolved on a death world. Earth's gravity, predators, diseases, and natural disasters forged us into something far more resilient than our appearance suggests. With a roar of outrage, Vorth released the force pike and swung his massive fist directly at Dr. Lee's head. The elderly human sidestepped with balletic grace, allowing the blow to pass harmlessly by. In the same motion, he struck Vorth's extended arm at a precise point between armor plates. The crack of breaking bone echoed across the suddenly silent plaza. Vorth howled in pain and disbelief. The other Gordon guards raised their weapons, but hesitated when Dr. Lee raised a warning hand. "Your captain assaulted a diplomatic visitor," he said calmly. "I am merely defending my family member, as is my right under Article 7 of the Nexus Accords. Escalating this situation would constitute a formal breach of galactic law." The lieutenant, Grex, according to his armor's insignia, signaled for his subordinates to hold position. "This situation has gone far enough," he said stiffly. "Captain Vorth will withdraw, and no formal complaint need be filed." "I think not," Dr. Lee replied. "Your captain has publicly assaulted my granddaughter. There are protocols for such incidents." Vorth, clutching his broken arm, glared at Dr. Lee with murderous hatred. "You dare lecture me on protocols? You're nothing but primitives playing at civilization. We conquered the stars when your ancestors were still huddling in caves. And yet," Dr. Lee observed mildly, "here we are." In a blur of movement almost too fast for most observers to follow, Vorth's uninjured hand dropped to his waist and drew his ceremonial plasma blade. The weapon hummed to life with a sinister blue glow, its edge hot enough to slice through most armor and certainly through unprotected human flesh. "Grandfather!" Maya's warning came just as Vorth lunged forward, the plasma blade aimed at Dr. Lee's unprotected back. What happened next would be reviewed thousands of times in military academies across the galaxy. Maya Lee, the seemingly fragile human female who had remained passive throughout the confrontation, closed the distance between herself and Vorth in a heartbeat. Her movements were so precise and economical that many observers would later insist she had used some form of teleportation technology. In exactly 3 seconds, as confirmed by Nexus Station's surveillance systems, Maya executed 3 strikes to Vorth's skull. The first targeted a pressure point at the base of the Gordon's cranium, causing an immediate neurological disruption that slowed his plasma blade mid-swing. The second strike, delivered with the edge of her hand, connected with the temporal region of Vorth's skull with such precision and force that the thick bone beneath cracked audibly. The third blow, almost gentle in its application but devastating in its effect, pressed against a nerve cluster that few non-humans even knew existed in Gordon physiology. Captain Vorth, decorated officer of the Gordon Royal Guard and veteran of 17 planetary campaigns, collapsed to the ground like a puppet with severed strings. Blood of an unsettling orange hue pooled beneath his shattered skull. The plasma blade deactivated as it fell from his limp hand, clattering harmlessly to the floor. For one eternal moment, nobody moved. The plaza was frozen in a tableau of shock and disbelief. Then, chaos erupted. "Weapons free," Lieutenant Grex shouted, raising his force pike. "Secure the humans." "Stand down, Lieutenant." The new voice cut through the pandemonium with quiet authority. A tall, dark-skinned human woman in the formal gray uniform of the Earth Alliance stepped forward from the edge of the crowd. Colonel Elena Vasquez, Chief Intelligence Officer for Humanity's Diplomatic Corps, had been observing the confrontation from a calculated distance. "These humans have committed an act of war," Grex snarled. "They have killed a Gordon Royal Guard captain in full view of witnesses." "Your captain," Colonel Vasquez replied evenly, "assaulted a diplomatic visitor, then attempted to murder another with a lethal weapon when his initial attack failed. Every moment of this incident has been recorded and transmitted to both the Nexus Station Security Council and the Galactic Diplomatic Corps." She gestured toward the hovering security drones that had been monitoring the plaza. The record will show clear self-defense under Article 7, Subsection 3 of the Galactic Charter, to which the Gordon Empire is a signatory. Grex's eyes darted between the fallen form of his captain and the calm, collected humans before him. For the first time, he seemed to truly see them, not as fragile curiosities, but as something far more dangerous. "This isn't over," he promised, his voice low. "The Empire will hear of this." "Indeed it will," Colonel Vasquez agreed. "As will every member species of the Galactic Council. I suggest you retrieve your captain and withdraw before this incident escalates further." After a tense standoff that seemed to stretch for eternity, Grex signaled to his subordinates. 2 Gordon guards carefully lifted Vorth's motionless form, while the others maintained a defensive formation as they backed away. As the Gordons retreated, the crowd began to disperse, conversations erupting in dozens of languages as witnesses processed what they had seen. Species that had previously regarded humans with indifference or contempt now kept a respectful distance, reassessing everything they thought they knew about the galaxy's newest spacefaring civilization. Colonel Vasquez approached Dr. Lee and Maya, her expression carefully neutral. "Doctor, Maya, are you both unharmed?" Dr. Lee nodded, his earlier vigor seemingly diminished now that the immediate threat had passed. Once again, he appeared to be nothing more than an elderly academic. "We're fine, Elena, though I suspect this incident will have repercussions." "Undoubtedly," Vasquez agreed. "The council representatives will have questions, many questions." Maya remained silent, her gaze fixed on the spot where Vorth had fallen. The mark on her cheek was already beginning to fade, another peculiarity of human physiology that had surprised their galactic neighbors. "Is he dead?" she finally asked, her voice betraying no emotion. Vasquez's expression softened slightly. "No, though he'll wish he was when he wakes up. You targeted his neural centers perfectly, exactly as you were trained to do. Incapacitation without permanent damage." "It wasn't perfect," Maya countered, a hint of professional disappointment in her tone. "I had to accelerate the sequence when I saw him draw the plasma blade. The second strike was 2 millimeters off target." Dr. Lee placed a gentle hand on his granddaughter's shoulder. "You did what was necessary, Maya. No more, no less." A soft clicking sound drew their attention. Crix-9, the Vaxian intelligence analyst who had been observing the entire incident from a calculated distance, approached the human delegation. His compound eyes reflected the station's artificial lighting in prismatic patterns. "Fascinating," he chittered, his translator converting the sound to standard galactic common. "Most illuminating." Intelligence analyst Crix-9, Colonel Vasquez acknowledged with a formal nod. "I trust you found our demonstration educational." The Vassian's sensory appendages twitched in what might have been surprise. "You knew I was watching." "We always know who's watching, Analyst Crix-9, Vasquez replied with a thin smile. "It's what keeps us alive." Crix-9's exoskeleton shifted hues slightly, a physiological response indicating intense curiosity. The female, Maya. Her technique. I have studied 17,000 combat methodologies from across the known galaxy. I have never seen anything like what she just did. Earth has many martial traditions, Dr. Lee explained, once again the scholarly xenobiologist, some dating back thousands of years. What you witnessed was a specialized application of pressure point manipulation, refined for Gordon physiology. You have studied our weaknesses, Crix-9 observed. It wasn't a question. We study everyone's weaknesses, Maya said quietly, including our own. A contemplative silence fell between them, broken only when Dr. Lee consulted his datapad. The xenobotany exhibit will be closing soon. Shall we continue our tour? Maya, I believe we've had enough excitement for one day. Maya nodded, her earlier wonder at Nexus Station's marvels replaced by a focused alertness that Crix-9 recognized from elite military units. As the humans prepared to depart, the Vassian analyst extended a formal gesture of respect, one typically reserved for acknowledged predator species. One question, If I may, he ventured. The captain. He outweighed you by at least 300 pounds. His armor alone should have prevented your strikes from causing significant damage. How did you? Maya looked at him directly, her dark eyes reflecting the station's lights. It's not about strength, Analyst Crix 9. It's about knowing exactly where and how to apply pressure. A ghost of a smile touched her lips. Humans have become very good at finding pressure points. With that enigmatic statement, the humans departed, moving through the still murmuring crowd with the unhurried confidence of apex predators who had no need to rush. Crix 9 remained motionless, his analytical mind racing through the implications of what he had witnessed. After several moments, he activated his secure communication implant. Central Intelligence, this is Field Analyst Crix 9, Priority Alpha. Requesting immediate revaluation of human threat assessment. Current classification is woefully inadequate. Nay. In the hours following the incident at Nexus Station's Central Plaza, rumors spread through the station like wildfire. Species that had previously dismissed humans as curiosities now spoke of them in hushed tones. The Gordon Royal Guard, usually a domineering presence throughout the station, had withdrawn to their diplomatic quarters, their absence conspicuous. Maya sat alone in the Earth Alliance's temporary quarters, staring out at the vast star field visible through the panoramic viewport. The lights of passing ships traced delicate patterns against the velvet darkness, each representing civilizations that had been crossing the stars for millennia before humanity had even discovered electricity. The door slid open with a soft hiss, admitting Dr. Lee. He carried 2 steaming cups of what passed for tea on Nexus Station, a pale green liquid that tasted vaguely of mint and something indefinably alien. How are you feeling? He asked, offering one of the cups to Maya. She accepted it with a nod of thanks. I'm fine, just processing. Dr. Lee settled into the chair opposite her, his movements betraying none of the lethal precision he had demonstrated hours earlier. Your first combat application against a non-human opponent, it's natural to need time to reflect. Maya took a careful sip of the tea-like beverage. I didn't hesitate, she said after a moment. When I saw him draw the blade, I just moved. 3 seconds. Just like in training. You protected your family, Dr. Lee replied simply, as you were taught to do. Is that what we're calling it? Maya's voice held a trace of bitterness. Protection? Or was it a demonstration? A carefully calculated revelation of what humans are truly capable of. Dr. Lee's expression remained serene, but his eyes sharpened. Does it matter? The outcome would have been the same either way. Captain Vorth made his choice when he raised his hand against you. And I made mine. Maya set down her cup with deliberate care. I just wonder how many others will pay for our choices in the days to come. Before Dr. Lee could respond, the door chimed. Colonel Vasquez entered without waiting for acknowledgement, her formal uniform exchanged for the more comfortable Earth Alliance duty attire. Her expression was grave. The Galactic Council has called an emergency session, she announced without preamble. The incident has been classified as a significant interspecies security event. We've been summoned to provide testimony. Dr. Lee nodded, unsurprised. And the Gordons? Demanding blood price for their captain's attempted assassination. Vasquez replied with a thin smile. They're claiming Maya used prohibited neural disruptors disguised as jewelry. Despite the tension, Maya couldn't suppress a short, incredulous laugh. They can't accept that a human could defeat one of their warriors without technology? It's easier to believe than the alternative. Vasquez pointed out that humans, whom they've dismissed as barely worth noticing, possess combat capabilities that rival or exceed their own. Dr. Lee rose, setting aside his tea. When is the council session? 6 hours, Vasquez replied. Just enough time to prepare our presentation. Maya's eyes narrowed slightly. Presentation? I thought this was a testimony about a self-defense incident. Colonel Vasquez and Dr. Lee exchanged a look that Maya recognized all too well. the look of senior strategists who had been anticipating this moment for some time. Maya, her grandfather said gently, surely you realize this confrontation was inevitable. Sooner or later, humanity's capabilities would be tested, better on our terms than theirs. So I was bait, Maya stated flatly. That's why you insisted I accompany you to the plaza at precisely that time. Not bait, Vasquez corrected. A catalyst. Intelligence indicated that Captain Vorth had a history of aggressive behavior towards species he considered inferior. His patrol route through the plaza was predictable. The timing was opportune. And if he hadn't taken the bait, Maya challenged, if he'd simply walked past us, then we would have continued to the xenobotany exhibit as planned, Dr. Lee said mildly, and awaited the next opportunity to correct certain misconceptions about humanity's capabilities. Maya stood abruptly, pacing to the viewport and back. Does the rest of the delegation know? Were they all part of this demonstration? Need-to-know basis. Vasquez replied, the fewer people aware of the strategic implications, the more authentic the reaction. Authentic. Maya repeated the word as though it tasted foul. There's nothing authentic about manipulating someone into attacking me so I could publicly shatter their skull. Dr. Lee's expression softened. Maya, you know better than most what's at stake. Earth has been vulnerable since we joined the galactic community. Too many species see us as easy targets, technologically backward, physically weak, politically naive. So we show them that we're dangerous, Maya challenged. That's your solution? We show them that we're not to be trifled with, Vasquez corrected. That despite our late arrival to interstellar civilization, humanity has its own strengths that compensate for our technological disadvantages. Dr. Lee rose and joined Maya by the viewport. For 50,000 years, Earth was isolated. While other species were spreading across the stars, we were fighting for survival on a single world, a world that tried to kill us in 1,000 different ways every day. I know the history, grandfather, Maya said quietly. Then you know why every human who ventures beyond our solar system undergoes the training you received. He continued, not to conquer or dominate, but to ensure that no one mistakes our diplomacy for weakness or our courtesy for fear. Maya was silent for a long moment, her reflection in the viewport overlaying the distant stars. Finally, she turned to face them both. What happens now? She asked. Colonel Vasquez straightened, her manner becoming formally professional once more. Now, we prepare for the council session. The Gordon Empire has significant influence, but they've overplayed their hand with this incident. With the right presentation, we can turn this confrontation to Earth's advantage. And Captain Vorth? Maya asked. Will survive, Dr. Lee assured her, with a permanent reminder of the day he underestimated humanity. As Colonel Vasquez outlined the strategy for the upcoming council session, Maya found herself wondering about the galaxy's perception of her species. Humans had been carefully presenting themselves as diplomatic, eager learners, junior partners in the grand galactic civilization. How much of that perception would change after today? And was that change for better or worse? One thing was certain. The illusion of human fragility had been shattered beyond repair. What would rise in its place remained to be seen. The Galactic Council Chamber was a marvel of collaborative architecture, incorporating design elements from all 117 member species. The vast circular chamber rose nearly 100 meters from floor to ceiling, with terraced seating arranged to accommodate beings of wildly different physiologies and environmental requirements. Maya had seen recordings of council sessions during her diplomatic training, but nothing had prepared her for the overwhelming sensory experience of being physically present. The air was thick with a carefully calibrated mixture of gases suitable for most oxygen breathers, while specialized environmental bubbles contained delegates who required more exotic atmospheres. Translators hummed softly, converting the cacophony of languages into a comprehensible flow of galactic standard. The human delegation had been assigned a position near the chamber's center, ostensibly a place of honor, but also a spot that left them exposed to the scrutiny of every delegate present. Maya recognized the subtle psychological tactic for what it was and kept her posture relaxed but alert as she took her seat between Dr. Lee and Colonel Vasquez. "Quite the turnout," Dr. Lee murmured, his eyes scanning the chamber. "I count representatives from at least 90 species, far more than the usual attendance for a minor diplomatic incident." "Word travels fast," Vasquez replied quietly, "especially when it involves a supposedly primitive species demonstrating unexpected capabilities." Before Maya could respond, a resonant tone echoed through the chamber, signaling the start of the session. The central podium rose from the floor, bearing the massive form of High Counselor Zalthrak, a member of the ancient Draymore species who had helped found the Galactic Council millennia ago. His obsidian scales gleamed under the chamber's lights, and his four primary eyes surveyed the assembled delegates with the patient gravity of a being who had witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations. "This emergency session of the Galactic Council is now convened," Zalthrak announced, his voice surprisingly melodious for a creature of his imposing size. "We are gathered to address the incident that occurred in Nexus Station's Central Plaza approximately 7 standard hours ago, involving representatives of Earth and the Gordon Empire." A murmur rippled through the chamber at the formal acknowledgement of the confrontation. Maya noticed several delegates leaning forward in their seats, their attention fixed on the human delegation with undisguised curiosity. "As is customary," Zalthrak continued, "we will hear testimony from all involved parties, beginning with the aggrieved. The Gordon Empire may present its case." A platform adjacent to the central podium illuminated, revealing Lieutenant Grex, now wearing the insignia of an acting captain, and 2 Gordon diplomatic representatives. Grex's posture radiated barely contained fury as he stepped forward. "Esteemed Council," he began, his voice amplified throughout the chamber. "Today the Gordon Empire brings grave charges against the humans of Earth. Their representative, the female-designated Maya Lee, employed illegal neural disruptors to grievously injure Captain Vorth during what should have been a routine disciplinary interaction." Murmurs of skepticism rippled through parts of the chamber, particularly among species known for their sensitivity to technological disruptions. Such devices would have triggered numerous security protocols throughout Nexus Station. "Captain Vorth," Grex continued, undeterred, "was performing his sworn duty to maintain order within Nexus Station when he observed the human delegation behaving in a manner inconsistent with proper protocol. He approached to provide correction, as is his right and responsibility under Section 4 of the Nexus Security Accord." Maya felt her jaw tighten but maintained her neutral expression. The Gordon was carefully framing the incident as a security matter rather than what it had been: an unprovoked assault motivated by species prejudice. The elderly human male interfered with Captain Vorth's official duties. Grex pressed on, physically assaulting him and breaking his arm. When Captain Vorth attempted to defend himself, the female attacked without warning, using technology specifically prohibited by Galactic Security Directive 37B. One of the Gordon diplomats activated a holographic display, showing a manipulated version of the incident that conveniently omitted Vorth's initial slap and his attempt to use the plasma blade against Dr. Lee's unprotected back. "The Gordon Empire demands justice," Grex concluded. "The humans must surrender the female Maya Lee for proper punishment under Gordon law. Additionally, we require the immediate revocation of Earth's provisional membership in the Galactic Council, as they have proven themselves unworthy of the civilized society we have built over millennia." As Grex returned to his position, High Counselor Zalthrak's secondary eyes blinked in what Maya recognized as the Draymore equivalent of skepticism. "The Council acknowledges the Gordon Empire's statement," he said neutrally. "We will now hear from the Earth delegation." Colonel Vasquez rose with fluid grace, her dark uniform a stark contrast against the chamber's pale flooring. "Esteemed High Counselor, honored delegates of the Galactic Council, I am Colonel Elena Vasquez, Chief Intelligence Officer for Earth's Diplomatic Corps. With me are Dr. Rajan Lee, xenobiologist, and his granddaughter, Maya Lee, cultural observer." Her calm, measured tone provided an immediate contrast to Grex's emotional delivery. The Earth delegation respectfully submits that the account just presented by Acting Captain Grex contains significant factual inaccuracies that can be easily disproven through objective evidence. With a subtle gesture, Vasquez activated her own holographic display. With the Council's permission, I would like to present the complete security footage from Nexus Station, unedited and verified by the station's independent security protocols. Zalthrak inclined his massive head. Proceed, Colonel. The holographic display expanded, showing multiple angles of the plaza incident simultaneously. Unlike the selectively edited version Grex had presented, this footage captured the entire confrontation in uncompromising detail. From Vorth's deliberate approach to his unprovoked slap. From Dr. Lee's defensive maneuvers to Vorth's attempted use of the plasma blade. And finally, Maya's 3 precise strikes that had neutralized the threat. As the Council can clearly see, Vasquez continued as the footage concluded. Captain Vorth initiated physical violence against a diplomatic visitor in direct violation of Articles 3, 7, and 12 of the Nexus Accords. When Dr. Lee attempted to defuse the situation, Captain Vorth escalated to potentially lethal force with a prohibited weapon. Maya Lee's response was proportionate self-defense under Galactic Charter provisions. She paused, allowing the implications to settle across the chamber. Furthermore, detailed medical scans performed by Nexus Station's independent medical team confirmed that no technological devices were employed during this incident. Maya Lee used only physical techniques that are part of standard Earth defensive training. A wave of astonishment rippled through the chamber. Many delegates turned to confer with their aides or colleagues, while others stared at Maya with newfound wariness. The Earth delegation acknowledges the regrettable nature of this incident. Vasquez concluded, however, we categorically reject the Gordon Empire's characterization of events and their demands. We acted in legitimate self-defense against an unprovoked assault by a representative of a senior council species who should have known better. As Vasquez returned to her seat, the chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Species that had previously paid little attention to humanity were suddenly engrossed in intense discussions. Maya noticed several delegates performing discreet scans of the human delegation, as though searching for hidden weapons or enhancements. High Counselor Zalthrak raised a massive clawed hand, and silence gradually returned to the chamber. The Council has reviewed both accounts, he announced. We will now hear from an independent observer, Intelligence Analyst Crix-9 of the Vaxian Confederacy. You were present during this incident. Please provide your assessment. Maya felt a jolt of surprise. She hadn't expected the Vaxian analyst to be called to testify. Crix-9 approached the central podium, his exoskeleton shifting through subtle color patterns that indicated complex emotional states. Esteemed Council, he began, his translator converting his chittering speech to Galactic standard. I was present throughout the incident in question, observing from a position 17 meters from the primary participants. My recording apparatus was active, and my observations align with the unedited security footage presented by the Earth delegation. His compound eyes swiveled toward the Gordon representatives. No neural disruptors or other prohibited technologies were employed by the human Maya Lee. My sensory apparatus would have detected such emissions. The techniques she employed were purely physical in nature, targeting specific vulnerabilities in Gordon physiology with exceptional precision. A contemplative silence fell over the chamber as Crix-9 continued. What I witnessed was not technological superiority, but rather a demonstration of specialized knowledge and physical capability that has significant implications for our understanding of human potential. The Vaxian's exoskeleton briefly flashed a pattern that indicated profound concern. Based on my analysis, I must inform the Council that current assessments of human capabilities appear to be drastically underestimated. The speed, precision, and effectiveness displayed by Maya Lee suggest a level of combat training far beyond what we previously attributed to Earth's representatives. Murmurs of alarm spread through the chamber. The implications were clear. If a seemingly ordinary human could neutralize a Gordon warrior in 3 seconds using only her bare hands, what else might humans be capable of? High Counselor Zalthrak absorbed this information with the unreadable calm of his ancient species. "Thank you for your objective assessment, Analyst Crix 9, he said finally. "The council will now deliberate." The central podium descended into the floor, taking Zalthrak and the other senior counselors to a private chamber below. In their absence, the delegates broke into animated discussions, many casting speculative glances toward the human delegation. "That went as well as could be expected," Colonel Vasquez murmured. "Crix 9's testimony was particularly helpful." Dr. Lee nodded thoughtfully. "The Vaxians value analytical precision above all else. His assessment carries significant weight." Maya remained silent, watching the reactions rippling through the assembled delegates. Some appeared alarmed, others intrigued, and a few, particularly representatives of species that had suffered under Gordon dominance, seemed almost pleased by this unexpected revelation about humanity's capabilities. "What happens now?" she finally asked. "Now," Dr. Lee replied, "the galaxy reevaluates its understanding of humanity. For better or worse, we are no longer viewed as merely the curious newcomers to galactic society. We're a potential threat," Maya observed quietly. Vasquez shook her head. "We're a species to be respected, not underestimated. There's a crucial difference." Before Maya could respond, the central podium rose once more, bearing High Counselor Zalthrak and the senior council members. The chamber fell silent as the massive Dre Moore raised his hand for attention. "The Galactic Council has reached its decision," he announced, his voice resonating throughout the chamber. "Regarding the incident between representatives of Earth and the Gordon Empire, we find the following." He unfurled a ceremonial scroll, a traditional touch that predated electronic records by millennia. "First, based on incontrovertible evidence, Captain Vorth of the Gordon Royal Guard initiated an unprovoked physical assault against a diplomatic visitor in clear violation of Nexus Station protocols and Galactic Charter provisions." The Gordon delegation stiffened, their postures radiating outrage, but they remained silent as Zalthrak continued. "Second, the response by Dr. Rajan Lee and Maya Lee constituted proportionate self-defense under Galactic Charter Article 7. Section 3. No prohibited technologies were employed, and no excessive force was used beyond what was necessary to neutralize an imminent lethal threat. Maya felt a tension she hadn't realized she was carrying begin to ease from her shoulders. The council's finding aligned with the truth, something that wasn't always guaranteed in galactic politics. "Third," Zalthrak continued, his tone becoming more grave, "this incident has revealed a significant oversight in our collective understanding of human capabilities. The Galactic Security Council is hereby directed to update all relevant assessments regarding Earth and its representatives." He turned his four primary eyes directly toward the human delegation. "The Council acknowledges Earth's right to train its representatives as it sees fit for their protection. However, we also note that greater transparency regarding such capabilities would have prevented this unfortunate incident." Colonel Vasquez inclined her head in acknowledgement of the subtle rebuke. It was fair. Earth had deliberately downplayed certain aspects of human capability for strategic advantage. Finally, Zalthrak concluded, the Gordon Empire's request for punitive measures against Earth and its representatives is denied. Instead, the Empire is directed to provide appropriate compensation for the unprovoked assault initiated by its officer. This matter is considered resolved under galactic law, and no further escalation will be permitted. With that pronouncement, the emergency session was adjourned. As delegates began to disperse, Maya noticed the variety of reactions directed toward the human delegation, everything from newfound respect to barely concealed apprehension. "Well," Dr. Lee said quietly as they prepared to depart, "it appears humanity has made quite an impression today." Colonel Vasquez nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Phase 1 complete," she murmured, so softly that only Maya and Dr. Lee could hear. "The galaxy now knows we aren't as helpless as we've appeared. The next phase will be more challenging, convincing them we aren't a threat to be contained." Maya considered this as they made their way through the ornate corridors of the council chamber. the carefully cultivated image of humanity as eager, somewhat naive newcomers to galactic society had been irrevocably altered. In its place was something more complex and potentially more dangerous, a species whose apparent technological disadvantages masked unexpected and formidable capabilities. As they approached the transport hub that would return them to Earth's diplomatic compound, Maya noticed Crix-9 waiting near the entrance. The Vaxian analyst approached with a formal gesture of respect. "Ms. Lee," he chittered, his translator rendering his speech in perfect galactic standard. "A moment of your time, if I may." Colonel Vasquez tensed slightly, but Maya nodded her assent. "Of course, Analyst Crix-9." The Vaxian's compound eyes studied her with unnerving intensity. "Your species continues to fascinate me," he said finally. "Most emergent civilizations follow predictable development patterns, technological advancement preceding biological optimization, yet humans appear to have pursued a different path." "We adapted to our circumstances," Maya replied carefully. "Earth shaped us in ways that aren't immediately obvious." "Indeed." Crix-9's exoskeleton shifted through subtle color patterns indicating deep thought. "In my preliminary report to the Vaxian Confederacy, I have recommended a complete reassessment of human potential. I believe many other species will do the same in the coming days." "Is that a warning, Analyst?" Colonel Vasquez asked, her tone pleasant but her eyes sharp. "Merely an observation," Crix-9 responded. "Change inevitably creates instability. Some species will see humanity's revealed capabilities as threatening. Others will seek alliance. The galactic balance is shifting, and the ripples from today's events will spread far and wide." "And the Vaxian Confederacy?" Dr. Lee inquired mildly. "Where do your people stand in this new assessment?" Crix-9's exoskeleton briefly flashed the pattern indicating amusement. "The Confederacy values information and adaptation above all else. We have existed for 17 millennia by accurately assessing potential threats and opportunities." He turned his compound eyes toward Maya. "Today, I believe we have identified both." With that enigmatic statement and a formal gesture of departure, the Vaxian analyst withdrew, leaving the humans to contemplate his words. "Well," Dr. Lee said after a moment, "it appears we've given the galaxy something new to think about." "Was it worth it?" Maya asked quietly as they boarded the transport pod that would return them to Earth's compound. "Creating this fear?" "Not fear," Colonel Vasquez corrected. "Respect. There's a crucial difference." "Is there?" Maya challenged. "I saw the way they looked at us after the council session. Many of them were afraid." Dr. Lee's expression softened as he regarded his granddaughter. "Maya, you must understand the position Earth faces in galactic politics. We arrived late to a civilization that had been developing for tens of thousands of years. Our technology lags centuries behind many council species. Without certain sea equalizers, humanity would be vulnerable to exploitation or worse." "The training program," Maya murmured. "Precisely," Vasquez confirmed. "Every human permitted to venture beyond our solar system undergoes the same comprehensive combat training you received, not to conquer or threaten, but to ensure that even the most physically imposing species thinks twice before assuming humans are easy targets." The transport pod hummed softly as it carried them through Nexus Station's sprawling infrastructure. Through the transparent walls, Maya could see the vast, swirling activity of countless species going about their business, trading, negotiating, exploring, and now, perhaps, reevaluating their understanding of the galaxy's newest spacefaring civilization. "What happens next?" she asked finally. Dr. Lee smiled faintly. "We continue our work. We learn. We share knowledge. We build relationships. But now, we do so with the galaxy fully aware that humanity's apparent fragility conceals unexpected strengths. And if someone tests those strengths again," Maya pressed, "then," Colonel Vasquez said with quiet certainty, "they will receive another demonstration, until the lesson is thoroughly learned." As the transport pod docked at Earth's diplomatic compound, Maya found herself wondering about the future that awaited humanity among the stars. They had shattered one illusion today: the perception of human weakness. What new perceptions would rise in its place? And how would they shape humanity's path forward? One thing was certain: the galaxy would never look at humans quite the same way again. Crix-9 completed his recording, the holographic display flickering as it saved the comprehensive analysis. His compound eyes dimmed slightly as he contemplated the implications of what he had witnessed on Nexus Station. "Computer, append final assessment," he chittered, his translator converting the sounds to the formal tones required for official documentation. "Based on observed evidence and subsequent investigation, I must conclude that humanity represents a significant paradigm shift in our understanding of emergent spacefaring civilizations. Unlike most species who rely primarily on technological advancement for interstellar viability, humans appear to have developed exceptional biological optimization through their evolution on a high-gravity Urski's high predation world." He paused, considering his next words carefully. Even for a Vaxian analyst accustomed to clinical objectivity, the conclusions were disturbing. The combat capabilities demonstrated by Maya Lee suggest that humans have systemically understated their physical potential since their arrival on the galactic stage. This strategic deception, combined with their rapid technological adaptation and remarkable cognitive flexibility, indicates a species with significant potential for either peaceful integration or devastating conflict. The recording terminal pulsed softly, awaiting his final recommendation. Crix-9's exoskeleton shifted through patterns of deep concentration before settling into the formal configuration required for official pronouncements. Recommendation: upgrade human threat assessment from Category 4, limited concern, to Category 2, significant potential threat. Initiate comprehensive monitoring of human activities throughout Council space. Simultaneously, pursue diplomatic and scientific collaboration to better understand human capabilities and intentions. He paused again, then added, "Personal addendum. I believe we have much to learn from these remarkable beings. Their evolutionary path has produced capabilities we would do well to understand rather than fear. In humans, the galaxy may have found either its greatest allies or its most formidable adversaries. The difference may depend entirely on how we choose to receive them." With a final gesture, Crix-9 transmitted the completed report to Vaxian Central Intelligence. Across the vast expanse of civilized space, similar reports were being composed by representatives of dozens of species, all grappling with the same unsettling revelation. The fragile-looking newcomers from Earth were not at all what they appeared to be. In the solitude of his observation chamber, the Vaxian analyst found himself experiencing an emotion rare for his analytically focused species: anticipation. The galaxy had just become a far more interesting place. "Computer, begin new analysis," he announced. "Subject: predicted galactic power dynamics following human capability reassessment." As the recording terminal hummed to life once more, Crix-9 contemplated the 3 seconds that had changed everything. 3 seconds in which a seemingly fragile human female had shattered not only a Gordon captain's skull, but the galaxy's entire perception of humanity. Whatever came next, he suspected it would be nothing short of revolutionary.